The knock wasn't a knock. It was a verdict. Wood shuddered under the impact. The doorframe rattled like it knew what was coming. I tasted salt and metal at the back of my tongue, the ocean pressing its breath against the windows while my sisters froze in the living room, smiles collapsing mid-laugh. Sirens blood through the walls. Red and blue strobed across their faces, turning them into strangers. Police! Open up! My heart didn't race. It slowed. I stayed seated on the arm of the couch, fingers laced, watching their eyes flick toward me. Confusion. Then fear. Then the first realization that I wasn't confused at all. I stood and walked to the door. Calm. Deliberate. Each step measured like a countdown. I opened it. 2 hours earlier, I had arrived to silence. The good kind. The kind that settles after a long drive when the world narrows to waves and wind and the promise of rest. I remember thinking the house smelled wrong. Not stale used. 20-odd laughter lingering in corners. I heard engines idling where there should have been sand and seagrass. I stepped onto the balcony and looked down. Cars. Dozens of them. Lined tight and crooked across my property like teeth in a grin that didn't belong to me. Handwritten signs staked into the sand: beach parking, 25 cash. I didn't need to ask who. I already knew. They were inside when I returned, 3 voices overlapping, wine glasses clinking, laughter loud and unashamed. They'd rearranged my furniture, opened my cabinets, made themselves at home the way only family does when they think blood is a deed. It's genius, the oldest said, waving her phone. Prime location? Everyone does it, the middle added. You're never here? The youngest laughed the loudest. Relax, it's making good use of the land. They said it like it was a favor. I stood there, key still in my hand, sand clinging to my shoes, listening to them explain my own house to me. I felt something stretch inside my chest. Not break, stretch. Like a wire pulled tight enough to sing. I asked one question. How long? They exchanged glances, shrugged. Couple months? Months of strangers parking on protected dunes. Months of cash income skimmed clean. Months of risk, fines, liability. All wearing my address like a mask. I said nothing. That's when they made the mistake of laughing again. They'd always mistaken my quiet for permission. Growing up, I was the one who watched, learned patterns, learned where words landed and where silence cut deeper. They were loud, confident, used to taking what they wanted and calling it resourceful. I was the afterthought who kept receipts. I walked past them down the hall into my office. I closed the door gently. My pulse was steady. My hands didn't shake. I pulled the file. Environmental restrictions. Zoning ordinances. Coastal protection statutes. The ones I'd had to sign when I bought the place. The ones they never bothered to read. The ones that spelled felony when violated repeatedly for profit. I opened my laptop. Photos loaded automatically, time-stamped, geo-tagged. Cars, signs, cash exchanges. My neighbor's security camera feed I'd requested weeks ago, when I first suspected something was off during my last visit. Back then, I'd said nothing. I'd waited. I dialed a number. When the voice answered, I didn't explain, I didn't embellish. I stated facts: illegal commercial use, protected land. Ongoing. Active now. Then I hung up. They sensed the shift before they heard the sirens. What are you doing? One asked too lightly. I rejoined them, took my seat, crossed my legs. Outside, engines revved. A horn blared. Cash changed hands. Relax, I said. I'm sure it's fine. They smiled again. Relief flooded them, easy and undeserved. Then the knock came. The officers stepped inside with purpose. Questions followed. Permits requested. Faces drained of color. My sisters talked over each other, offering excuses that tangled and collapsed under their own weight. I stood back. Observed. Silent. One officer turned to me. Are you the property owner? Yes. Did you authorize commercial parking operations on this land? Nope. That was it. That was the hinge the door swung on. Handcuffs came out. Not for them, not yet, but citations did. Thick ones. The kind with teeth. The kind that don't disappear with apologies. They turned on me, them. You called them. You set us up. We're family. Family. The word tasted different now. I didn't say a word. I told them. You did all the talking. The fallout was surgical. Fines stacked. Charges followed. The environmental board moved fast when money was involved. The media loved the angle, locals exploiting protected coastline. My name never appeared. The address did. The story wrote itself. They stopped calling me sister and started calling me traitor. I blocked the numbers, changed the locks, filed formal trespass notices. The house exhaled. Weeks later, I walked the beach alone. The sand was clean again. No tire tracks, no signs. Just wind and water and the slow return of quiet. I thought about how they'd laughed, how sure they'd been, how they'd never asked if they should, only how much they could make. Justice isn't loud. It doesn't knock. It waits. And when it arrives, it sounds exactly like the truth hitting wood.